we're back on. Hi,
We're
how
back
are
on.
you? How's everyone? Caught me in mid-sentence. I was going to ask a question. So, like when we are talking about individuals and you're going to share with us the opportunity. So let me ask this question when we're talking about doing business on another continent. Just as it is here for a business to be business ready for contracts and supplier, I would assume it would need to be the same thing. You need to have you have a business plan and know what the heck you're doing.
Absolutely.
And that you have what that international trade aspect of your business is,
right.
That you're financially sound,
Mm-hmm.
that you know how that you're going to make money and the pricing, because that may be different there
Right.
than it is here. So understanding the capacity that your business can perform whatever the services or products that is providing for that company.
Yeah, what they're looking at, they want to purchase technology. They want to purchase technology or services from you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's what we're looking at primarily.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
any like for example, there's a company that I'm aware of that develops infrastructure, the construction management company. And so they literally have been hired by a Nigerian company to actually assist them in that area, help them learn how to manage major construction projects. Okay, so that's a service they're providing, and they're being paid for that.
Okay.
And for that matter, the gentleman who actually provides that service is going to be a speaker at the conference. He's going to talk about his experiences in Nigeria. And what we also learned, though, and the beauty of it is a real-time presentation. You find out what it's really like to engage at that level, because it's, I wish I could say it was trouble-free. There was no problem. But oh no. Our people are our people wherever we go.
I love it. So then that's through the DNA. Then is that what we're saying?
But at the same time, the reason I love Africa is because I love to be someplace where black folks are in charge. I just feel very positive about that.
Yes.
Anyway, and I'm also very comfortable. I
Yes.
have a hard time leaving the continent whenever I go. That's
Yes.
why I don't like to go, because I don't want to leave.
Don't want to come back.
Anyway, I'm going to give you some areas where there's business opportunities: telecom and ICT, energy, and that's excluding oil and gas. So you're talking about solar power, wind power, any type of alternative energy systems needed.
You said telecom?
Telecom and ICTC. Anything in that area is needed. Okay. Real estate. Believe it or not.
Real estate.
Real estate. There are people and one of the things that is needed there is real estate financing.
Oh, wow.
Interestingly.
That's good
Logistics and warehousing. Okay. One of the things that people need to over there is anyone who can help them improve anything that's associated with moving products, doing roads and railways, or storing, and storage is needed.
Storage, okay.
Yeah, agribusiness. You're talking about developing infrastructure for that. Agribusiness, food and growing, processing, transportation, refrigeration, anything associated with food, development of food is needed. Aviation, developing airports, servicing airplanes, developing airport infrastructure to include computer-based systems is needed. Tobacco manufacturing, growing and processing tobacco, food and fruit processing, travel and tourism, fish farming, fishing and fish processing, any type of construction needed, mechanized farming, and that's part of the farming process. They have consignment shops. Anyone who can go over there and set up a consignment shop where you can provide food, clothing, particularly American-based products, excellent. Believe it or not, water refill stations.
Wow.
Okay.
You remember we saw that on that show, the VIP show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah, okay. Rental services. Anybody that can help people rent anything. Public address systems, chairs, tables, canopies. A lot of people needing that. Equipment leasing is related. Okay, so that gives you an idea of the types of services, and that's just like I mentioned about it was about 10, 12, about 16 different areas where services are needed. But that's just a drop in the bucket.
That could revolutionize.
Oh, yeah.
So what are the costs that are associated with, obviously travel is a thing, and you would be importing or even if you were arranging, so you're not necessarily housing the product unless you're manufacturing them, but we don't really have any manufacturing companies. But is that opportunity available there?
To what?
To manufacture there at a lower cost than you would
if you had the ability to set up a manufacturing operation there, that would be good. But there are manufacturing operations there, but there need more. One of the areas where there are a lot of manufacturing being done is in the textile area, but it's needed. Food growing and processing, coffee, tea.
I mean, these are just basic things. This is just stuff that we take for granted in the United States. Yeah. But you would have an open field to doing that there.
If you had the ability to set up any type of manufacturing operation in the continent, that particularly would help them do all the value addition for their commodities in the continent, as opposed to having them constantly shipping commodities out where all the manufacturing and the processing is done in Europe or someplace else. It's what they're looking for. Okay, a major area they're looking for is food processing. You know, if you could just go in there and teach them canning, how to do canning and putting things in jars.
It's interesting you said that. My friend that's from South Africa, but her husband, he actually just recently brokered a deal for his company and with the Thailand. And so he has a public company. It's a publicly traded company. And so the Thailand government purchased $100 share of his company and provided it to all of their farmers. Just revolutionary. And so he was saying, and they also have an educational component to the company, and I'm a shareholder in that company, and so they're going to teach these farmers how to be business people. So he had asked me, he said, Crystal, I may need you to go over there to teach bookkeeping to them, so how they can manage and track and their inventory in their farming, because they don't have those. So of course we'd work with a translator. So when we think about what you just said, that was America before we got here. And we structured this company. We built this country. And so just imagine, take what we did here under force and go back there and do that purposely and build that country up and create the relationships with your motherland where you came from. Now that's some karma, isn't it?
And you said company.
Yeah,
and that wasn't a slip for a reason.
That was not a slip. That wasn't a slip for a reason. That means the company, right? The company, and we're gonna go over there as the company and create and can go over there. So we really need to look at this on a serious level. So I say to our radio audience, and for any of you that you have business opportunities and business ideas, this is like an open. Once you get through the logistics and understanding the people, and obviously there's ways to do that. The conference is the first step, is to at least come in and interact and talk and get to know and get to find out what information is available for you. But at the same time, think about the opportunities to create wealth for us here by doing it with people that look just like us. That
want to do business with us.
And that want to do business with us and are not looking to undercut us or to cut us out solely just because of the color of our skin. And I think from the post-traumatic slave syndrome, which is interesting that they're suffering from it, but I guess we were taken from them. They divided the family and separated out the same situation.
I call it over there, it's post-colonization.
Yes,
post-colonization.
Yes, exactly.
It's a different thing, because they basically are recovering from that colonial experience they've had. And that's still happening.
And it's still happening.
It's still ongoing, particularly in South Africa. They're going through a major trauma right now.
Yeah.
Because Gilbert, your country, Jamaica. Gilbert is actually from Jamaica.
Yeah.
I mean, I imagine
you heard that.
You heard it. You heard it.
We have some people coming down, hopefully this year, from Barbados, who are going to come and represent CARICOM.
Oh, great!
And talk about the Caribbean communities interest in interacting with us. In fact, we're going to deal with it in the area of reparations.
See, that's another aspect we need to address, the CARICOM aspect.
Yeah. Oh, it's a major one.
Because not too many people know about it, and there's some things going on there. There are opportunities and challenges.
Yeah, but they are actually recognized by the African Union as a sovereign group, and we're trying to create a similar type of solidarity within the Pan-African diaspora as a whole.
Right.
And CARICOM is way ahead of it, because they're going to come and talk about that as well as their move towards reparations.
That's great.
And we want to actually collaborate with them through our local reparations group to develop an international reparations group.
That's excellent.
Have you
had that discussion at the conference?
Have you guys had that conversation with Dr. Anderson?
Dr.
Claude Anderson? He has an institute called the Harvest Institute, and he's also working toward. He wrote Paranomics.
Oh, okay.
Right, and he's been working for the last, because he actually was the one that penned the what is the amendment?
What's that?
The Equal Rights Amendment for us, for affirmative action. He actually penned that. He worked in Washington, and he was the one, and came back and made the amendments for the 14th and the 16th, 15th and 16th Amendment. So he's been working in that area. So you might want to reach out to him.
We probably have some connections with him to the group that I'm working with called the United Reparations Front, who will be featured at the conference. But I'm going to be making an effort to get the United Reparations Front hooked up with the CARICOM group. And so they're supposed to be sending a representative down, a couple of people down, to sit down with us and talk about what's happening with CARICOM. And what we hope we'll do is there'll be a meld, if you will, that will take off from there, because we need to make this international movement.
If you don't mind, can you just speak a little bit to CARICOM? Just give a definition so the listeners know what CARICOM is all about.
The CARICOM it actually stands for the Caribbean Community, and it is literally all of the island nation states that are part of the Caribbean community. Jamaica, Trinidad, San Martinique, Guadeloupe, just to name a few, Cuba, which is Barbados, and
is Puerto Rico part of that or no?
Good question. I don't think so. I think they're still officially American, owned by the U.S., which is to their.
I think they're having some major issues.
Right now they owe a lot of money to the U.S. government, and they're trying to figure out how they can renegotiate that debt. And if I was them, I would be trying to figure out how I can get out of it. Get out of the loop.
Sounds like those student loans.
Sounds like a forgiveness thing before the last step.
Of the CARICOM community is that the fact that they are coming together as a sovereign group as a sovereign region. They're actually going to have their own economic regional economic community that is powerful. That is very powerful. In fact, what they're doing is similar to what is happening on the continent already. Because the continent actually is divided into about 5 or 6 regional economic communities. And what the CARICOM is basically is a Pan-African regional economic community. And what we've been advocating for is to have the same thing happening in the CARICOM, happening where we are internationally. So that essentially CARICOM becomes the model for how we establish a regional economic community that literally then becomes the 6th region that we can then engage with the African Union.
And the philosophy about this is that the countries that are a part of CARICOM, the philosophy is that they do business with each other. So instead of doing it outside or depending on other, they do it among themselves and build that wealth and that sustainability. So and that will trump any other economic opportunities or approaches. So that's a great thing. So we'd love to promote that some more.
And that could actually be a great connector here, because so many people are from the island.
The connectors already exist. It is through Barbados that slavery came into the U.S. And all the major banking and financing was actually done through Barbados. I learned that when I went to Barbados. And I was like amazed at the education they gave me the week I was there. And I'm like, man, and for that matter, I had the same problem leaving Barbados that I had leaving Africa. I didn't I didn't want to leave.
So why didn't you stay?
I had to come back. I got 2 kids to raise.
See, that's the beauty. That's the beauty, though. When you go to a lot of these Caribbean islands, when you go there, it's like an education.
Yeah.
You're probably on vacation and you're having fun, but it's an education as well.
Right.
So that's the beauty of it.
And I've been to Trinidad and I've been to Guadeloupe as well. Okay, and Jamaica.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. So and I haven't been to all of them, but I've been to those.
Oh yeah.
And so I really and the African influence is there.
Yeah.
Wherever you go.
Yes.
In fact, in Guadeloupe, it was amazing. They think of themselves as being French, but these are African people.
That's how you look at it. And, you know, my girlfriend
the
is
dance, the music and everything. It's all African.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, but anyway, that's
my girlfriend is Cuban. They were born on Cuba.
Yeah.
One of her grandfather, her father's family is from Barbados, and her mom's family is Jamaican.
Yeah.
And so, but they were born. She was born in Cuba, so they immigrated from Cuba to here. But they're Cuban and they speak Spanish and they live a Cuban household. Right. But I believe her family actually. And Daisy, if you out there listening, as you should be listening,
call us and correct us.
But I believe that there's land there, and I've been trying to go to Cuba, been wanting to go to Cuba with her. Her older brother actually immigrated here in the last 20 years. And so they're actually been back and forth. They go back there like every year to Cuba to be there. But and that's what she says. She says, when you go to Cuba, when you see, and even Brazil, when we were watching the Olympics, you see what looks like the whitewashed part of it, but that's not the country.
Right.
That's not the real country. It looks like Jamaica, and when I went to, I've been to the Virgin Islands and Saint Martinique and Bahamas and Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is more of a Spanish, but and somewhere else I went Cozumel. Cozumel actually there's an African kind of Indian, Aztec Indian kind of influence. So when you leave our country,
that's the important thing.
You got to leave here,
for a minute.
and go to other countries and see where we all are. And with the internet, one of the things we've seen, we're all over the entire world.
Right.
Everywhere there's evidence that the African, wherever the migration took us, that's where it was, or where we actually started, and others immigrated into the countries that were already ours.
There's evidence.
And Crystal wanting everyone to know that it's accessible. I mean, my round trip ticket was $700.
Right.
Wow.
So I mean,
to where?
To South Africa.
Really?
Yeah.
So I mean, there are ways, and people think it's thousands.
No,
Is it nonstop?
Yes.
No, it's affordable.
Really?
Yeah.
My niece goes to Egypt. I think her flight, she left. She's there on location right now. She's a makeup artist, and she's actually grew up she was born in America, but her father's Egyptian, so she's got dual citizenship. So she's in Egypt now. She's working on the movie set doing makeup. She's a makeup artist, and I think it was $600-700 to go to Egypt.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's sometimes that's a round trip ticket if you
don't plan back east. It could be
right, exactly. If you don't plan for it, that's
a
east.
round trip to New York.
Yeah, it could be a round trip.
So here's what I want to do, since we only have 10 minutes left.
Okay.
I would like us to talk a little bit about how we can incorporate the CARICOM philosophy in a lot of what you're talking about, and how we're doing what we're doing to help a lot of these entrepreneurs recognize, because I teach classes at Edison also, SoCal Edison. And one of the things that we teach, which is a whole different way of educating and building entrepreneurs, is that instead of you going after certain opportunities that you may never get, why don't you form collaboratives and go after the opportunities that way? Because then you build your capacity, you're much bigger, so you can go after it collectively, and then the contract provider will look at you in a different light.
Right.
It's the same thing with a CARICOM. We're thinking if we can build our resources and do business with each other instead of going after certain entities, then you see what I mean?
Yeah. The power of what CARICOM is doing is actually centered around what the African Union has made available, at least so far, to the Pan-African diaspora as a whole.
Right.
In about 2003 or 4, the union actually did a resolution where they invited basically the Pan-African diaspora to become part of the African Union as what they call a sixth region.
Right.
Okay. CARICOM's engagement is probably the most advanced form and the most organized response to that invitation, because they immediately recognized that the power of the relationship had to be based upon a collaboration that had economic impact and not just political impact. And so one of the things that a local professor here named David Horn did was he actually, in response to that, he formed what was called the Sixth Region Diaspora Caucus.
Right.
And his goal was to actually begin the process of talking about how the diaspora, not only in the U.S., but wherever we are internationally, can get and be involved with the African Union in economically as well as culturally. And so we've actually developed a concept for forming the diaspora as a whole as a as an economic development, as an regional economic community. And then having us then begin to learn how to trade with each other wherever we are in the world, whether we're in Central South America, whether we are in Europe, or for that matter, in the Caribbean, and begin to talk about how we can begin to do business with each other, but then form a regional community that supports each other and deals with our developing our internal economies, and then also as have those internal economies begin to trade with each other. So that we've actually developed a paper that proposing that, and we've actually made a presentation to the African Union just recently for, and we've invited the union to send a delegation to our conference this year to talk about where they are on this. They recently just had a meeting in D.C. where they made a presentation to our group and asking us to come back with a proposal, which we did. But we are really engaged in trying to push this, because we don't necessarily need to have the African Union invite us to do what we need to be doing. What CARICOM has done is CARICOM has not waited for the African Union. They actually have recognized the power of that collaboration.
Exactly.
And what we need CARICOM to say to us, to be honest with you, is, look, stop arguing with each other. Stop waiting for Africa. We can do it right now, and we don't have to wait for that. Okay. So what we're hoping is that the inspiration that will come will be that we can begin to follow the CARICOM model and become part of an international community that will include CARICOM and also what we're doing now.
And that would be fantastic.
Just so our listeners know, there are 15 countries that are involved in the CARICOM program. So they collaborate. You have 15 countries trading and doing business among each other. That's phenomenal.
That is phenomenal.
That is phenomenal.
That changes. That changes the game as well.
Also, keep in mind that the African Union just recently signed off on what's called a tripartite agreement. So what's happening now is literally about 26 African nations have come together as a collaborator, and they're actually beginning to talk about how they can make that an entire economic region in itself. So that's literally half the continent. So what we have here is the potential for the formation of the entire continent coming together really as an African Union, as opposed to in real time, as opposed to a name only. And that would then begins to form what we call the United States of Africa, but we don't want it to be USA. We want it to be called something else.
I feel you.
That collaboration itself, where now the nations begin to trade with each other, they break down the tariffs that they're using right now to inhibit trade with each other, and they begin to trade with each other. That now strengthens that relationship, and also what they begin to do is begin to develop their economies within their nations, as opposed to just selling commodities or giving commodities to Eurocentric interest. So we are very interested in having our conference being a part of that activity. And when you go to the website, you'll see not only the historically, but also what we currently plan this year as a way of continuing to address that as an ongoing issue.
Excellent. So we'd love to be a part, and obviously recycling like dollars. Yeah. So I don't know. I have to check with Jackie, but are you open to coming to the Breakfast Mixer in September? I think it's like the 9th or something before your event.
No problem.
So you can come talk about that.
But I do want to follow up on this very much, very much so we can talk about having an ongoing relationship.
Definitely.
I think it's an excellent idea.
And I'd like to follow up on the youth component.
Yes. Oh, yeah. We need to do that.
Yeah, I think, Crystal, you also have a youth component, too. So
I have an educational youth component, the entrepreneurial type program. And I'd like to introduce you to, and you may know Dr. Rosie Milligan.
I've heard the name. I'm quite sure I've met her.
Right, because she's the direct connection to Dr. Anderson and also George Frazier.
Yeah.
He's been having a lot of relationships and working with Africa. Okay. And so I think he would definitely, because he's all about right now wealth creation for us and for the African American people, the black people, period. That's what he could. And so when I went to the conference last year in June, it was all about that. It was all about our connection with Africa. There's tours that go to Egypt.
Great.
So I think you need to meet with them because George has a lot of connections.
That's great.
Phenomenal. So with that being said, this is a wonderful conversation. I'm loving this. My juices get flowing whenever I'm thinking about business and opportunities and all of that.
So. And we incorporated Jamaica in it this time.
Exactly. So
Gilbert, there's one resource that I want to share, a TED Talk 2016 in Ngozi Akanji Iwali, Rising Africa, how Africa can keep rising. So if you take a look, audience, it's a great TED Talk.
Yeah, great TED Talk, guys.
Excellent.
So we're going to wrap it up. I need a shout out to everyone that there is a grand opening for the Man Shave, a new business that we want to welcome to Inglewood. Man Shave Barber and Lounge. It is on Centinela and Hyatt Park. They're having their grand opening tomorrow from 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So, guys, stop by, say hello to TJ, who is the proprietor, the new proprietor. He's got some fantastic ideas for the shop. So you want to go there, and I need you guys to go support the new Black Beauty Supply owner on West Century Boulevard in Inglewood. It's right there in front of Costco. So go to Costco, get your groceries for the children next week, and then go to the front lot there and go get your hair supplies from him.
And a shout out for the Village Health Foundation that did move, but moved next door to keep your health being your wealth.
Okay, and then we're going to all go to the Pan-African Global Trade Show so we can find out how we can do business in our motherland.
Definitely.
On the continent.
But also with each other.
Yes. And with each other. And talk about the CARICOM and how we can forget about having to go through all the drama here in the United States. Just do business with our own.
That's what I'm
and making sure we pass the torch from elder to millennium.
Right, exactly.
Yes, pass the torch.
And that's exactly what we've been talking about, because instead of going after procurement opportunities with these entities that don't really care about small business, we can do it ourselves.
Yes.
Right.
We can do it ourselves. So this is phenomenal. So with about 2 minutes to go, we want to thank our guests for being here today. This is phenomenal. We had Denise Davidson. And we also had Mr. Alfonso Washington, and I learned a lot today.
Right.
I learned a lot.
Is there a way we can have a show about the CARICOM? Well, you got some representatives.
We would love that.
If they're coming, I can make them available. I'm sure they would love to have the discussion.
Yes.
They'll be here. They'll actually be making their presentation on the 16th, on the first day of the conference, as part of our regional economic community discussion.
Right.
And we'll also include that as part of the UN decade, recognition of people of African descent. So they will be here. You might, well, I don't know if you can. You probably can. But if you want to if you want them to come, I can work on making them available for
you. That sounds good.
Yeah,
that would be fantastic.
Both gentlemen are from Barbados. And one of them runs the Non-State Actors Reparation Commission there. and the other one is a businessman and a hotel owner there.
Beautiful.
Okay. Yeah.
And the only thing that will be missing, Crystal, will be access to capital. And then once we get that included,
there you go. We're good. We're good.
Great.
So I'm gonna this radio show on YouTube. I'll send it to both of you once it's uploaded, so you guys can use it to promote the show, and you can use it to promote what you promote, and that'll be good. So that way we can get the word out, get the show out. Yeah. You are here at the Business Zone. So guys, we have some amazing conversations with some amazing guests. So help us grow. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and share this video. Once we get it in about an hour or so, I will post it. And this is a conversation that we need to keep having until we make it to it is activated and manifested, as Denise and I are very good at doing, into a reality.
Because Africa is our home.
Exactly.
Our home. Yeah,
and I just want to add this announcement real quickly before we get off the air. On September 20th, I'll be teaching a workshop for NABO. That's a National Association of Women Business Owners. And this is a workshop that is sponsored by SoCal Edison. So my company, as well as my strategic partner, Sullivan International, will be hosting this, and I'll be teaching that workshop. Probably going to have about 30, 35 women business owners there. Powerful organization. And the class that I'll be teaching is called Building Your Operational Capacity. So this will help small businesses understand how to build their infrastructure, what goes into the infrastructure. And as you know, any of you who attend my class, you know, when I talk about infrastructure, it makes a lot of sense, and it helps you to better understand your business. We take your business, we divide it into 4 categories. We do the business planning, general operations management, business development and marketing, and cash flow management. Then we build it out. So with that being said, we want to sign off today. Yes, and we want to thank our guests and Crystal.
Thank you guys for coming out, and we will definitely be interacting and helping out wherever we can. Gilbert, have a great vacation next week.
Thank you. I need it.
I'm sure you definitely need it, because I know I could use one. Mine's coming in September, and we will see everyone next Friday.
All right.
Bye-bye.
So we're out.
We're out.
Okay.